So we've just stopped loosening the body off. Right. Okay, swaying to the side. Just with the elbow, rotate. And then loose. And then circling the hip. And then circling the knees. And circling the ankles. Okay, pointing the toes. Pointing the ball of the foot. And then the heel. And then just in circles.
Roland.
And then the same, just side, rolling. Good. Pointing the toes. Pointing the ball. Pressing the heel. And then roll it. Okay, just for the shoulders, rolling forward. And backwards. Big circles forwards. Backwards. Okay, we're going to go into this swing. So shoulder width apart, raising the hands and you're swinging down. Nice and heavy, with the knees relaxed. Swinging through. Okay, just swinging the arms front and back. Really loose. And And opening it out, spine swinging out, shoulders front and back. And then complete the circle of the head. And then the last one, just with the hand, I'm going to throw it to the shoulder. Just kind of tossing the arm out, and pressing down, and sending the hand to the shoulder. That's right, just with the arms, press them out, and then you're going to really roll the shoulder blades, going backward. So really nothing happening in the elbows and hands, all the movement coming from the shoulders, rolling forwards and backwards. Try and explore the full rotation. And then with the shoulders kind of in place, just play with rotating the forearms and the wrist and the hands. Just explore some positions with the hands and then, or with the arms, and then look at some Takesubaki work. So the first thing, just go into a kind of light squat this way. What I want you to do with the arms is roll them together so that the whole arm touches. So from the tips of the fingers all the way down the wrist to the forearm. This is basically going to keep in position. What you do is keep the shoulders back, down, go into the squat a little bit deeper, and what you're going to do is raise the hands up here whilst keeping the shoulders down. So as far as you can raise them up and extend them, and then release them down. And all the while keeping this together. So what you're going to do is press the fingers together. Everything's kind of pressing together. So you've got a real kind of tension in terms of the back. What I'm not doing in this case is crunching the shoulders down this way. But what I'm doing is opening the shoulders up. So I'm actually doing this kind of movement with what I want is the shoulder blades to expand back this way through this pressure here. So as much as you can avoid this kind of position, this way, and then just raise up as far as you can. It's a little bit like this yoga pose when you do this kind of motion. That's just a bit easier because I can press into the joint this way. So really press quite strongly, and we'll just do kind of 10 raises with it. So go to the squat a bit deep, and then raise up and sink. 2, 3, 4, really press. 5, 6, try and keep the forearms together. 7, 8, 9, 10, and release it. Do a similar kind of motion, this time kind of in motion now. So you roll from this position, and in this case, just roll the movement here. And now the fingertips are touching, but not the rest of the fingers. And then from here, I want the same position. I want to contact, and then in this case I'm going to reach out a bit more because the hands and the inner arm aren't in contact. What I can do now is reach up more high, reach up higher like this. So in this case it's like this kind of motion. The elbows close to the chest, contact with the little finger, and then connect all the way down. And then again, see if you can keep the shoulders wide and back, and then pressing forward this way. Yeah, it's like holding something up, and then split it, release it, and go all the way back. Keep the shoulders back down, and see if you can find as full as extension as you can. So you go out and up in this case. And again, really press the hands together to separate the shoulders. So, and then release it. Yeah. So contact, shoulders back down, and extend as far as you can up, and release it. Just a few more. And release. Good. One more, nice and slow. Keep the breath big. Stretching up. And release. Good. Okay, one last one. This time it's just the fingertips in contact like this. You're going to still use the same kind of squat. Go a little bit deeper with the squat. Throw the weight back and have the feeling this is strong. And again, I want to avoid this kind of position, and I want to get this kind of position. And again, I want to see how far I can really extend whilst keeping the shoulders back down and the chest full. So this, and again, really strong here, pressing in this way. And I want to avoid, in this case, this position. And I want to get a full sense of a kind of ring through the body this way. This is like a kind of Kokyu position that we use here. So in this case, raise up. Keep the shoulders back down wide, chest up. Okay, and in this case, stretch forward and start to pull the hips back. Start to activate the lower back. Start to pull the hips back. So it's like you're pulling the hips away from the hands, stretching forward as far as you can without shrugging. Pulling back. And then release it. Let's do a few from here. So strongly here in the fingertips, pressing together. Stretch forward, pull back with the hips. Almost all the weight's on the heel. And release it. Just one more. Stretch. Press the fingers together, nice and strong. Pull apart. And release. Okay, good. Okay, so let's just work really with the arms, with the hands, and then working with the fingers as well. We're using this kind of position that we use in the taijutsu work, in the Kokyu work. We're just going to start with just a movement here. You're going to work in hammy. Here. You're going to be in a neutral position, and then I want you to just bring in, roll in the hands this way. So nice and slow from a neutral position, and then just coil in the hands. Coil in the hands. And then just do a few each side. So really, the important thing is go from a neutral position. The spine's nice and relaxed, elongated, and then from the pelvis, curling. 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 Do a few each side. See? Okay. Okay. Okay, so the same kind of position, just try it here, like this. And basically what I'm doing with the hands is this motion. This motion. Okay, but what I'm not doing in this case is this. spreading out. So it's not a motion like this where I'm pushing out. This motion this action basically goes to a pushing position. So it goes to kind of pushing in the arms, whereas this motion coils up through the back this way. So this movement is a spiral that runs through the back, kind of clear. And then if I do this, I basically open it out and I'm going into pushing work. Or what's the other way? No, that's really the main way. So in this case, you can try like this with the fingertips together. And I want the feeling that I don't need to really separate. In this case, I want to watch this doesn't happen. So I don't want that to happen as well. This is the other way. So I can do this, internally rotate the more. This kind of do this kind of position, externally rotate this way. And then this is really weak for the shoulder. So I want the feeling like this, that it's really coming out this way. So it's the blade of the hand being pushed forward this way. So just explore you can check with this position. I can basically keep the contact with it. This way, so I'm working in this position. This position, and not that position, and not that position. Something like that. That position. That's it. Needs an extra kind of, yeah, that's it. So you can check that. You can check it with this position. I basically want to keep the shoulder back, the elbow down, and then the hand. There's an extra kind of rotation going on in the hand. Look, glunk.
There's almost a triangle, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. If I take that to the center, I've basically got that. I've got that position, and then I basically with the kokyu work, I'm slightly expanding it that way. So it's like this kind of movement. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and the other exercise you can do, which just clearly shows this is from sword work. You just pretend you've got the sword, and you just roll this up this way, this way, this way, and the action of the hand's really important. This is also rotating up. So the kokyu work is like the raising of the sword and the lowering. This is kind of contains all the movements. Why the first saburi is so important for us. It really trains this kind of kokyu movement with the arm or with the whole body, but in this case, really specifically with the arm. So if you feel like the hands are kind of on a line, this way, you just press into it. Press into it. You can also do it really like as if you do the first saburi, kind of coiling up to it. But the important thing is this, and then what you do is start to kind of split the hands out. So because I'm working with the hands and not with the sword, there's no real need to keep the hands together in this sense, like this. So that really limits me. So then you start to expand it. So just work with this position, and then start to open it out. And then eventually I get to a kind of natural position where the arms feel that, which is about, it's really where I've got a sense of a ring through the body this way. It's not too narrow and not too wide, that way. There's a feeling like a ring from the back of the body this way. That's it. Really kind of coiling through it. So you can kind of expand it out from this position now. This. Nice. Okay. Now just work with the same position. One of the problems with this, or one of the issues with it, or problem with it, is because I've not got something to do with the hand, or doing something through the sword. The arms tend to be like, what am I doing with them? And they tend to be kind of loose and aimless in a way. So what I want you to do is have the feeling that you really, with the center, press through the hand this way, and then you're going to make this exercise a bit more flexible. So just roll it back and then press through it. Roll it back, press through it, but keep the arm, this connection's really active all the way through, so it doesn't kind of loosen and then in this kind of work, but really get the sense that you fully extend and then release the body and then come to here. And basically acting the hands as if they work from the hips. So the hips move, the body moves, and then the arms go. So basically in this case, keep the arms extended and only move the hands and the arms when the hips go. So I don't move them independently. Move them together. So really get a feeling like actually it's very similar to this kind of exercise, like the hands and the hips connect, connect, connect. So start with kind of small movements, get a sense of full extension all the time through the hands. And then when you feel it's kind of really connected, start to move with it. But keep it very tight, especially in the kind of finish position. We tend to not really have a finish position with the Kokyu. There's a kind of sense of, oh, it's kind of endless. But get a feel like there's a kind of final movement with the Kokyu. There's a kind of final movement in the same way that you do with the sword, cutting this. And this point is where you would really apply and make contact with it this way, or apply and make contact with it. So there's a definite sense of a full extension and a kind of finality to it. So I get a sense of this, rolling back and pressing it forward. This, just do a few each side. This. Nice. Okay, so you can do the same thing. This is a bit like doing shihokiri with the sword. So you're going to be in the right side forward. You press into the front this way. And now rotate to the back. Press to the back side. And then from the left foot, rotate. Coil this way. Coil back. So you start right side. Forward. To the back. Full rotation this way. And then a return to the back this way. Yeah, so just focusing on the Kokyu work. This. And then back. Okay. Do 3 or 4 rotations, four directions, and then change side so that you're rotating on both sides. So the key is just do 4 directions. So with the hips engaging, hands. Rotate, engage. Rotate, engage. Rotate, engage. Okay, in your own time. Nice. Okay, good. And in this case, just watch that. Watch that this doesn't happen. This kind of position. where actually what's happening is that the spine's contracting through it. Now, if the chest and the shoulders contract through this movement, then this really has no power through it. So I'm working again with contraction. So I'm asking the hands to expand out, but at the same time I'm contracting my body in. But what I need to do is keep this expanded and open it out this way. So in the same sense, when you do the sword cut, I want to avoid working in contraction with the shoulders and the upper chest area and the shoulders this way. And what I want to feel is that the chest, the shoulders stay expanded through the cut this way. So this whole area stays open. And in this case, the same thing, this stays open. So I really feel that this is full through the movement and not collapsing down. The key to this is that what's happening is that, I'll try and show from this part, that this doesn't do the bend, but that the pelvis does the bend. So the pelvis bends. But if the pelvis is kind of rigid, then the shoulders and this will start to take over the job of the pelvis in the center of the hips. So what I want is the hips, this to bend. So in this case, I'm doing this work with the pelvis, this. So it's spiraling into the ground and not locked, and then this does it. Or just the knees. You can also do just with the knees. And then you've got this kind of motion with just a sense of down and no real sense of out. So what I need to do is really activate the pelvis this way. And again, this is directly from sword work. This kind of feeling. So really get a feeling that the hips are totally active through it. This way, this way, this way, this way. I should feel the hips totally kind of all the time working like this, and not that the chest is taking over from that action. Just a few more. Good. Nice. Okay, good. Okay, we'll start with a little bit of a different body movement. Now you're going to bring the feet together and then bring it back. So in this case, a little bit like a kind of yokomen work with the hip. You're going to be in this position. Just bring the hips together with the feet together, and then coil the hands this way. This way. And then release it. Bring the hands together, and then coil the hands in this way. I'm a little bit wider with the hands, not working in this position, but now working in this position here. Still with a feeling of a ring and pressing out this way. So you're going to bring the feet together, start to raise the hands, coil, and then coil it back and in. 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 Okay, give it a try. Let's see. So see if you can get the feeling that the hands really form a kind of tight circle. So again, this kind of exercise, this, and then the feelings that you slightly split it here. But what I don't do again is to kind of drop it out or push it out. So in a sense, I want to avoid like this kind of position, this kind of position, where I'm kind of separate. The hands are kind of separating out. But what I feel like this forms a ring, I basically roll it up and then have this kind of position. And in this case, the hands are a little bit wider this way. But feel that basically the hands are connected in this ring. I'm basically using this kind of ring to move this way, and not this position, and not this position out. Okay, just try. Big circle. This. This. Good. Okay, good, great.
Michael,
Yeah.
maybe this is a stupid question,
Good.
but one hand is in front and the other hand is behind. In the
Good. It only really because the hips are. So in a sense, what I'm not doing is like this, but what I'm doing is this, and then it's basically the hips are rolling back this way. So that the hand's only behind because the hip is this way. You see that? But it's not in a sense that I'm doing that or that way. So it's not like this kind of position, but it's more like this position. Ooh. I mean, this if the hips align, I'm in this position, and then as I go into hammy this way, the hands basically following the hip. This way. This is a bit rigid, but that way. Now, so as you do this exercise, this back hand is going to be pulled by the back hip. Pulled by the back hip. You get that? But not in a sense that it's behind it, but in a sense that it's in this kind of ring through here. This, but not that. In this case, it's possible to do like this, where you're looking like sword work this way, and sometimes we use it in terms of shihonage, this kind of blend. But in this case, a bit more expanded. This way. Yeah? See? That's it. Yeah. That's it, Adrian. Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay, good. So we'll look at this kind of motion. We use it quite a lot, actually. This kind of motion we use in Yokomenuchi. So I want you to practice as if the Yokomen's coming into the side, and I want you to shift the weight forward and press in with the hands this way. Okay, so just this very first motion. This. Okay. I want you to just practice it as a Kokyu exercise. So we'll go later as a strike, but for now, just practice it as kind of Kokyu work. The key hand in this one is the outside arm. This one. So the outside arm and the outside hip. The front hand, the front hip. This way. Okay, that, and this should be very strong. This. You can also, in this case, if you want to practice by kind of bracing the arm, you can kind of give yourself a little bit of resistance and press it out here, especially at this position. You can also get a feeling of pushing it back this way, and it should be very strong. Even though I pull very hard, this is expanding out. Okay, so just get a feel for this position. Okay, the hips are working in a sense, not like this, but this, coiling out. So I'm actually going into a kind of sideways position with the hips. This way. This way. Okay, try it. The kind of yokomen entry. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, good. And there's a kind of middle point in the terms of this one. This is going to be very hard to show. But in terms of this position, if I'm too high with the arm, I'm in this position here, it's very effective in the angle against the strike. What will happen with the strikes is just slide off and then they'll just continue and strike into the ribs. So, and basically if I'm too high with this movement here, like this, it'll just, the strike will deflect off and then the strike just basically follows in. So this happens, it slides off and then I just strike again for the ribs. So, and the other one is if I'm too low, if I go into this kind of position with the strike. So if I'm pushing it down this way, basically puts me in this position, right? And then this angle, I'm actually just free to come back into with a strike. So you really got the arm under control. And they can't down. So it's just kind of difficult. But it basically just means keeping this angle here, this angle. Yeah, so I'm basically it's kind of on level with the head here, not too low and not too high this way. Yeah, and you'll just feel the structure of the shoulder. The arm is weak. Here's strong. Here weak. Here's weak. Strong. So just get the feeling that you can really project out through it this way. This way. This way. Yes, I'm using this. No, here. Yeah, not here. Okay, give it a try. Just a few. Just look for this position where the shoulder is super strong. Okay, now just bring the backhand into it. So you're going to do the same kind of coiling Kokyu movement here. And then the backhand really is going to come in and strike this way. So it's going to raise up and strike in this way. Use the same kind of Kokyu work, but I'm now transferring it into a strike. This way. So it's coming from the backhand and basically sliding in with the body this way. Slide in with the body this way. And then this strikes in this way. So you're using the cushion of the hand. Basically this part with a strong striking hand this way. It's going to strike in this way. Okay, let's try this. So you coil out, strike down. Yeah, now strike down. This way. Wash. Wash. Okay. Good. Nice. Okay, and the purpose of that strike, one to hit. So I'm using it to hit the person. If they're basically open through the strike like this or like this, whatever, and they're not using the front hand, then I'm gonna take them out with the hand. This is to kind of cover them. But the hope in that is also that if I don't use the strike, then that person's actually free to use the front hand. So if I don't do the strike, if I don't do this atemi, this blend will not work because you're striking in here and this hand starts to, so if there's no strike, let a hand back, this hand just follows in this way. Okay? The person will basically blend with this and then follow with a second strike. So this strike functions in terms of our system as a distraction this way. It's to prevent them from using the backhand, which is the danger as I deal with this one, that there's another coming in. So I have the sense that these need to also be delivered at the same time. So in a sense, what I don't want to do is roll out and then strike. Roll out and then strike. Roll out and then strike. Because by the time I've made the strike, the second attack's already come in. So get the feeling that you do this as well. This way. Okay, so you blend out, strike. Blend out, strike. Okay, so it all comes together at the same point. It's all basically the hands working with the hips, raising and cutting down. Raising, cutting down. It all happens together. So just play with the coordination. This. It all comes together. This. This. Okay, and this strike is right to the head. Gone. This way. Okay, give it a try. So try and deliver the, basically blend with the front arm and strike with the back arm, all at the same time. Oh. That's it. Yeah, good. Okay, so we'll go through a technique with it. So we'll look at a kind of Iri Minagi movement. Come to here. Now in this case, the hand that strikes blends across this way, keeping this strong extension, blends across, and then covers all the way over. Now during this motion, I send the body and from here, find the Iri Minagi and pressing down. Okay. And just all the time focusing on the Kokyu work. So come in out, striking down. Now the hand that strikes rolls across. Here it forms basically an X here, and then I cut across. As I cut across, send the body in, and then find the technique, and pressing down. Okay, this is like a Yoko Menuchi Iriminage. Across, curl. Find the technique, and this way. Okay, give it a try.
You're on the inside of the Yokomanuchi.
Yeah. No, you're on. Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, for reasons of structure, okay, what I do is this. Okay, if I go on the inside, basically what I need to do is contract the arm to do it. So if you think the arm is here, now in order to get inside that, I've got to move this arm to do it. So I've got to get in between it. Now in that transition's very weak. If I go inside the arm, the extension there, and then just basically comes slamming into the face. So this one doesn't work. So what I need to do is be on the inside of this arm. So I basically keep this strong extension here, strike, and then I'm on the inside. So the right arm moves inside, and I can basically keep the strong extension and then roll through. It looks like in this exercise that this hand is the important one. So it looks like this arm's the one that's doing it. But actually it's this arm. So all the way through the extension. I still want to protect this. Yeah. So the front arm's the one that with the extension is protecting me. Strike down, roll inside, keep the extension, and then roll through it. This way. Okay, give it a try. And with this basic, you can go easily into a fluid form. So we'll go to the fluid form next. That's it. Very nice. Yeah, and in the same way, just watch the front arm again, this way. Here, as I find this position, don't drop the arm. Don't go to this position. This way, extension. All the time it's staying extended. If the moment, again, I drop that extension, here and I just go to this hand's too weak to control the person. So this basically presses into the hand this way. So what this arm does is just guide. But this arm is keeping the extension strong, this side of the body that I can roll through. And this arm, the striking arm, this one is just guiding the hand. So we do this also with the kotegaishi. This way. This way. But in this case, here. So this arm stays very strong. Yes. And then this arm goes from this position, slides across. It's a little bit like I'm elbowing the person in the face with the arm. So this. It's also an option. this. And then from here it slides to the back and I take the back of the head. And then you're into the technique this way. Okay, give it a try. So don't drop the extension in the front arm. Basically it's full all the way through this technique. This way. Good. Okay, good. So this is a very kind of formal way of dealing with an attack, and it's a very formalized attack as well. So in terms of your I think almost never will but what it teaches in a sense is how to wedge the body into the attack, enter into it with a flexible connection, and then I can roll into the backside. This technique actually teaches a very practical defense. Actually, it's this front arm, this one. So just practice this one. In this case, it's the front arm just does this, and it rolls across the body this way. It's really effective for the head this way. And it's the same motion I use here, but it's just really condensed. So from this position, you just roll in this way. So the whole body is going to rotate and coil this way. So you can imagine this works really great for a jab, for a punch to the face, also for anything that's coming towards the head at an angle this way. I can basically deflect with it. So in this, the whole body's going to rotate and coil this way. Yeah, just try this both sides. From a neutral position, you coil the whole body. Coil the whole body this way. Coil the whole body. Yeah, and just do this just with the arm movement. It's a very fast, very efficient way to control an attack. Comes to the head. But it's really taught very clearly in the Yokumen work. Okay, the best way to train this is like this. If you imagine kind of someone in front of you with a ball, and they throw the ball at you like this way. And so what would naturally happen is you do this way. Okay, so it was a kind of really a natural reaction that you would do this and try and protect the head. Now what we want to do is hack that natural reaction to do this, that you do this way. Okay, so I want to basically this way, which is basically going up into the hands and taking me off balance. I want to use that natural response to curl the body, and I want to basically spiral the hand with it. So I'm basically hacking this, but really feel that something goes there. It should be like a kind of shock. So you've got to kind of shock yourself a little bit like that. This goes so the head, this. So just kind of naturally start to bring the hands up to the movement. There. So the hands will naturally start to come up towards the head. There. And then just get the thing that you can do it with calmness and extension. Calmness and extension. Very tight to the body. This way. This way. So the whole body's going to rotate. Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny because when you do this response, this is trying to avoid it. So I'm trying to avoid and I'm trying to get away from it. So what I'm actually doing in this case, like this is trying to take from all worst case reason. But in this case, what I'm doing is using that reaction to actually move in to the person. So I'm doing the thing that I don't want to do. So this response where I'm trying to get away is then actually converted into something which is open and responsive. So I'm actually allowing the person in this way. So this feeling has a different feel. It looks the same, and I use the same kind of movement of the body. This is a kind of rejection. No, and this is an opening and a pressing through. So it's totally different. Actually, the feeling is totally different. This to this way. Okay, but just explore it. This kind of feeling. And this movement we use in the Yokomanuchi. It's a bit more open, but we use this motion to find all the techniques. As you later, or Yokomanuchi, Hinonagari work. That's it. Yeah, good. Wham. That's it. Okay, good. And then if I'm really good, if I'm really alert, if I'm really open, you can use the same response actually as an attack. So in terms of the defense, it works like this, but in terms of attack, it can work like this way. Things like someone's coming in and this way. This comes straight into towards the head. So it's the same response. This, if I really catch them early, if I can really catch them in the act of, or the impulse of the attack, then I can use this motion to come straight in underneath here, this way. And then from here, you can do whatever you like. You can come through with a throw. You come through with a control, or you can come through all the way through with the body and slam through with the bow, with the body. So in this case, just practice the last thing. You can go like this, it's really like a defense. This way. So it's usually the same motion, and again the same feeling from the yokomen. This work. But in case of it working as a blend, I use it as a blend, press into the whole body this way. You imagine kind of coming underneath an attack this way. And this is going really to the, this can only work if I'm really open. So if I'm in any kind of resistance or in any kind of stance, this kind of attack will never be possible. Relaxing, and then I can press in through this way. Okay? This is one of the reasons we don't work in stances. It's because it doesn't give me good opportunity. This way. It's really a surprise. This way. This way. Okay, good. And then just last minute, just nice and freely, just moving with the feet and coiling with Kokyu work. You start by kind of moving, finding Kokyu positions, and then if you like, start to move into movement, start to go into techniques, if you like. Just rolling, coiling, rolling, coiling the body. Okay, great. Very good. Okay, so that's just looking at some basic Kokyu work and then applications into the techniques, and then outside applications, outside of techniques that you can use in a practical sense. So all the kind of techniques we do, they're really big, expanded, open movements, very formal. So it teaches also skills, how to use the extension through the body, how to use spirals. So this is basically where you need to unlock later when you go into this kind of oyowaza work, practical application. Okay. Very good. Right. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.